all around. They're getting medals at junior competitions, regional competitions, national competitions, and again just an opportunity for a lot of them to don their national vest and try and get into those other relay teams, maybe the more established relay teams, the 4x1 and the 4x4.
Well, Jamaica set to the world record in the inaugural edition of the World Relays back in 2014 in the warmth of Nassau in the Bahamas. Their time, remember this, for 4x200 was 1 minute 18.63, so a long way under averaging 20 seconds per leg. Now, of course, they do get a running start, the athletes on legs 2, 3 and 4, but nonetheless the changeovers have to be managed, and that is a pretty special time. Santa Monica Track Club, an American track club, hold the second fastest time in history, and that was set back in 1994, 118.68. So anything down towards 120, perhaps in these conditions, anything down towards 121 would be very, very quick indeed by any one of these 6 teams. So Germany go on the outside. Stephen Muller for them. Let's hope their fortunes are better than in the 4x100 earlier. Denmark, Stefan Udengard Knudsen, running on fresh legs, goes on their first leg in 6. Kenya's Mark Otieno Odhiambo is their lead-off man. For Poland, it's Dominik Kopek. Ran leg 2 yesterday in the 4x100 meter heats. For Portugal, Federico Covello, leg 3 in the 4x100 heats yesterday. The same quartet as in the 4x100. This, of course, is a straight final. And Ecuador will go on the inside with Alex Quinones. He will hand over to Anderson Marquinez, Steven Marcelo Salas Lopez, and Catriel Angulo. So Poland victorious in the women's race. Can they repeat that here? They go in lane 4. Away they go then, looking for any change in the echelon. We will see from the graphic bottom left of the screen very quickly that Kenya, Denmark and Germany at the moment appear to be 1, 2, 3. That would be a great leg from Kenya's Odhiambo, Mark Otieno Odhiambo. Get the changeover right. Oh my gosh! And it's Danes who have dropped the baton at the first changeover. What a disaster for them. The baton went down, the incoming runner collapsed to the track. Germany going well at the moment. Felix Straub on this second leg for them will hand over to Lucas Ansapepra. They're under some pressure from Kenya inside them, who have had a fabulous first couple of legs. For Kenya on this third leg is Elijah Onkware Matthew. But a drop baton in a 4x200, Jenny, shows how difficult it can be at speed.
It does, and I knew it was a challenge, but I'm really impressed by this Kenyan quartet so far. Wouldn't necessarily think Kenya were going to be great at sprints, more endurance, of course, but now they've been overtaken by the Germans, and it is a good German quartet.
And Poland have dropped the baton there as well on that third change of dear oh dear. Germany way out in front. Owen Ansa storming away to victory. He's got about a 12-metre lead. No problems for the Germans here in those changeover. Kojo Musa of Denmark would have been inside him, but he's gone. It's Hesbon Ochieng of Kenya who takes second place in the 4x200 metres relay. And I think Poland there through Karol Zalewski taking third place. Or was it the Poles who dropped the baton halfway through that third changeover? But the Germans, well, in a different class, a different quartet to Yokohama, but they go 2 places better. Third 2 years ago, the win here today, very impressively too, and frankly, they did it, well, seemingly at a canter. There was nobody within 10 metres of them. The Poles indeed did drop the baton at that third change. What a great shame. They jogged through just in case. Disqualifications can come through unexpectedly. But what a huge disappointment. And I wonder if we've talked about it a lot, Jenny, but I just wonder if the cold gets into the hands and the you know, a little bit of carelessness is forgivable when you're really cold and shivery and conditions you're unfamiliar with them.
Yeah, and again, it's something that they probably don't practice a lot, this 4x200 metres, and maybe you just are a little bit more relaxed and you take the eye off the ball because you think it's not the same pressure as the 4x1. But yeah, we've had more disasters in the 4x2 than the 4x1. But great scenes here. The Kenyans are now doing well at lots of different events. Of course, they had Diego, the world champion over the javelin, quite a few years ago now. Getting into the sprint events now as well. But I have to say that German squad, they did really well. Of course, they never saw any other athlete the whole of the competition because they were out there in the outside lane. They probably didn't even know what was going on inside there. Maybe it was better that they didn't drop Batons and all the drama. But 1:22.44, that's just over 20 and a half seconds each. Yes, of course, they've got momentum going into that, but don't think that's quite a bad time on a chilly evening.
But does that sometimes help, you know, being on the outside lane in a relay? Because you have tunnel vision, you have no choice. You're not going to be looking around for the opposition in a 4x100 or 4x200 on any of the legs. So you just get on with what is going on in your lane and try to nail it and get it right. Sometimes when you're in the middle lanes, there's a lot of traffic, a lot of activity going on around you. Batons flying through the air as we've seen today. As
we saw, they were just very undetracted by anything. And I don't think they probably knew they were going to win until the last 50 metres. And I think Portugal have just realised, here we go.
This is the Danes dropping the baton. Was this at their first changeover, I think? Oh dear, the incoming runner stretching, leaning forwards, overstriding, bang, down he goes. The baton wasn't transferred.
Yeah, he had 3 goes at it as well, didn't he? He tried his very best.
And watch the Poles there in the white vests handing over there. That's their third changeover. The baton goes down, bang, almost a hindrance to the athletes inside them. You could trip on that.
That's such a shame as well, because they were really fighting with the Kenyans for that second position. But here we go. Great scenes here. Germany taking it, like we say, on the outside. Didn't see any other team throughout. And Portugal there with Pereira was finishing really, really strong. He normally goes over the 100 metres, and he was really pulling Kenya back over that straight. But Ansa managed to just run all the way down the straight, unattended by anybody else, and great images. He looks across on the inside of him, nobody around him, no one to worry them. It was a dominant victory for the German quartet.
He will have known, I guess, looking back as the third leg unfolded, that he had a very comfortable lead, but I'm sure stayed focused down the home straight there for that comfortable victory. Almost 2 seconds the winning margin for Germany over Kenya, and what a surprise second place for the Kenyan quartet. Brilliant running from them. No national records in this one until you get down to 4th place Ecuador, who set a national record with 1:24.89. And actually, just checking, that is a national record for Ecuador by almost 2.5 seconds. So they did perform really well. A slap of congratulations there to Odhiambo, the lead-off man for Kenya, who ran a fabulous leg. They were 4th in 2019, 2nd 2 years later.
Well, this is the Portuguese squad. They're pleased with their 3rd position here. And it's nice, isn't it, to see the camaraderie between all of them.
So there's confirmation of the result. Germany winning from Kenya. Portugal 3rd, Ecuador 4th with that national record. A national record for the Portuguese as well, actually. Denmark failing to finish. We saw that crash to the track in a changeover, and Poland disqualified, I'm afraid, for the baton, I think, disappearing way out of their lane. But they did retrieve it and run home, but then were disqualified. Well, there's the split times. And again, 19.96 for the Germans. Their final leg athlete, Jenny. Owen Ansa, under 20 in these conditions. Brilliant.
Yeah, he drove all the way to the line. And like you say, Tim, he would have been aware that they had such a big margin.
Well, it just shows what a difference to not having to reduce speed too much at the start of your leg can make. Well, we come to the penultimate event of this second day and of the fifth edition of these World Relays, the women's 4x400 metres relay. The Netherlands go out in lane 9. What a strong squad they've got. They are the European indoor champions just a few weeks ago. In Torun, here in Poland. Germany, the same team in the same order as in qualifying yesterday. Nadina Gonska will take the baton out of the blocks for them. Belgium, third best in qualifying. They go in lane 7. No Bolingo in this squad. She did the first leg for them yesterday in their heats. So Kaukait will be the lead-off athlete for the Belgians. Poland, well, they were the champions, or the winners 2 years ago, beating the USA, and they were the second best in heats, and they do have a very strong squad indeed. Great Britain, likewise, 6th in 2019. No Zoe Clark in this quartet. We've seen a race already, but they do have a strong 4. Cuba, the fastest in qualifying, the same team in the same order. They set a world lead in their heat, 3:27.9. They go in 4. The Italians taking third place 2 years ago, and what a day they're having. The same team as yesterday. They were non-automatic qualifiers though, only third in the first heat yesterday. And France will be in lane 2 on the inside. A totally different quartet from the French. I think their attitude was that the job was done. They've made this final. They've made the Olympic Games in Tokyo by dint of that alone. And so they've changed the squad to give 4 more athletes a run out. But the Dutch, well, with Femke Bol on the third leg, the reigning European indoor champion at just the age of 21 a few weeks ago. She ran the fastest leg in the heats yesterday, Bol, 49.81. She looks fired up for this. I know some pundits think she might go low 49s here today. We'll obviously bring you that information. But this promises to be a beaut, doesn't it, Jenny? The Netherlands against Poland, against Great Britain, against Cuba, the fastest in qualifying. It's really, really nicely balanced.
It is, and the Cubans looked impressive, but I've actually been looking down the start list, and it looks like the Netherlands are really taking this event seriously. They had a great quartet yesterday in the mixed event, but they look like they're actually really focusing on the men's 4x4 and the women's 4x4 as individual events, just gender-specific events, and they've really made sure that their strongest athletes are in both of those quartets. So we've got Bol, we've got De Wit, we've got Clever, and we've got Hondenkamp for the Netherlands team, and I think them and the Cubans will take it all the way to the line. The Cubans were very impressive yesterday, and let's just see what happens. But Femi Bol, she's just been a revelation the last 2 seasons. She's now in the world top 10 all-time over 400-metre hurdles, won that European indoor title, and 49.81 seconds yesterday. Let's hope the Cubans run them really close to the line, and she has to run a low 49 seconds. It'd be great to see.
Well, she's the world #1 400-metre hurdler last year, Femke Bol, and we know she's special. The British squad, Lavia Nielsen, Amma Pipi, Emily Diamond and Jessie Knight. Slight change in the order there. Cubans, well, can they repeat their form of yesterday? Zurian Echevarria will send them off. They set the world lead in the heats. We may well see that improved today, although as I say that, high up here in the stands, the wind has certainly picked up in the last few minutes. I wonder what it's doing down there on the stadium floor. They are pretty sheltered in this wonderful bowl of a stadium, but undoubtedly it will be swirling a little bit. I wonder if it'll be in the favour of the athletes. Well, there's an indication. They're pretty sheltered down at track level, it would seem, at one end, maybe not at the other. Will it be a factor? So in lane 9, the Netherlands, Eva Hovenkamp will lead out their squad. She'll hand over to De Witte, Femke Bol on leg 3, and Lieke Klaver on the final leg for them. Germany go in 8. Gonska on the opening leg for them. Belgium on 7. Pauline Kaukait on the first leg. Then Poland on the inside. The winners 2 years ago beating the USA. They go in 6. Great Britain in 5. Lavia Nielsen in very good form recently. Watch her, the Britain in 5. Cuba go in 4. Echevarria, the same squad in the same order as were fastest in the heats. Then Italy go in 3. They were third 2 years ago. And France go in lane 2 with a totally different squad. Of course, running on fresh legs, that French quartet. Italy and Poland were third and first 2 years ago, respectively. Great Britain only sixth 2 years ago in Yokohama. But looking at their lineup and the experience in it, one would expect them to go maybe a place or two better than that at least. So the women's 4x400 meters relay, the final event for the women of the weekend. France in 2, Italy 3, Cuba 4, Great Britain 5, Poland 6, Belgium 7, Germany 8, and the Netherlands, watch them on the outside, in lane 9. An extraordinarily long delay again for the athletes there in their blocks, but away they go. And it has ensured, I suppose, to be fair, not one single full start all weekend. Jenny will accuse me of taking a chance for the athletes again, but it's all going very smoothly at the moment. Going well out in lane 7 is Belgium, Pauline Kuykert, who ran 52.1 on the second leg yesterday for Belgium, has had a storm ahead. She's gone past Gonska of Germany, and indeed Hovenkamp for the Netherlands is leaving them with a little bit of work to do from here on. She only ran 53.5 yesterday, Hovenkamp, for the Netherlands, nearest the camera. She's finishing strongly, but look at this, almost side by side, these 5 teams down the home straight in lanes 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9.
Yeah, it's always difficult to tell at this stage who's actually ahead. I'd say it was Poland from Great Britain, from the Netherlands, as all the second leg runners head off. This is Amma Pippi now from Great Britain. She's a really experienced athlete over the last few years. Studied in America. They run a lot of relays over there. And the Polish athlete as well. This is Hola Kolik. She's really experienced, plenty of medals, world, European and Olympic relay medals. She's followed in third place there by the Cuban Almanza, better known over 800 metres. But as it stands, it's Great Britain with Pippi, Poland, Cuba, Germany is still there. On the outside, Italy coming through.
Well, the world lead marker is right up alongside the British athlete Pippi. Brilliant leg from Nielsen to open the British account. Pippi, who ran the first leg yesterday, is going strongly here. Will hand over with a couple of metres lead ahead of the Poles and Cuba in third place. Italy moving into fourth, Germany in fifth, the Netherlands in sixth. Have got a lot of work to do at the moment at the halfway stage, but Great Britain here, well, you might as well be out in front. Let the others chase you. They've got to run wide around the bends, and plenty of experience in those legs of Emily Diamond. She ran the mixed 4x4 yesterday, ran a superb leg, Diamond. 51.86 was her split. Moving well at the moment. The Poles in second, looking dangerous, and then the Netherlands beginning to close up in fourth.
This is what we expected, didn't we? Femi Ball. And if you look at the caption just over on the left-hand side of the screen, this is metres that every team are behind the leader, and it still is Great Britain holding on. And here comes the Cuban athlete and Femi Ball all the way to the line as they hand over to the last leg runner. All 3 athletes set off at the same time.
Jessie Knight for Great Britain just holds the inside there. Fabulous closing from Femke Bol there as Emily Diamond just struggled through the last 30 or 40 metres. But Britain lead from the Netherlands. The powerfully built Lieke Klaver, who ran in the mixed 4x4 yesterday with 51.6 on her shoulder. She's dwarfing the little Britain. Going well in third place is still Cuba, nipping at the heels of the leading pair. That's Roxana Gomez for Cuba. She ran 50.9 yesterday on the anchor leg. Can she get past the Brits and the Dutch here? Into the home straight, 100 metres to run. Great Britain leading, there's nothing in it. And look at the Cubans. Roxana Gomez storms away here. Coming through strongly, the Poles too. What a final leg from Natalia Kaczmarek. It's going to be Cuba, Poland and Great Britain take third. And the Dutch came unstuck there down the home straight, finishing in fourth place, out of the rostrum positions. But what a run there. A historic run from Roxana Gomez. I'm dying to see her split. They were fastest in qualifying and critically fastest today when it matters more. The winners are Cuba. Their time 3:28.41. Not quite as quick as yesterday, but that doesn't matter. Fabulous final leg from Gomez.
It's very hard to watch these scenes and not even get emotional. Herrera, the tears in her eyes there that they've actually took the victory in this one. And Gomez was impressive, not only on that leg, but she's not even breathing. She looks like she could have, you know, carried on for another few meters for sure. She wasn't stretching all the way to that line, and we can see what this means to all the athletes. This will be a significant victory for them on the road to Tokyo and their preparations.
Well, there's a team to look out for. The story will be told in full when we get to see the splits from the various athletes. Femke Bol certainly bringing the Dutch back into contention. Lieke Klaver couldn't quite finish it off for them on that final leg. They were fourth fastest in the heats and fourth today in the final, the Dutch. But Cuba are the winners, from Poland, from Great Britain. The French, well, we knew they'd put out a team that was not their absolute best. They finished down in 8th place, just behind Belgium.
I'm just looking at Laos there. She's had a busy weekend, hasn't she? She went in the heat and the final of both the mixed and the 4x4 women's races. I think she's made her way round this track 4 times this weekend. And the Polish always produce the goods, don't they? A lot of the athletes on that Polish team were not the names that we're used to. They're not the household names, but they did great. And of course, Great Britain, they've won medals at every single championship over the last few years.
Well, here's the second changeover. Great Britain in the lead at this point, with Emily Diamond going out on the third leg with a good lead ahead of Poland and the rest. But Diamond there just being passed by Cuba and the Netherlands. And at this point, well, the Netherlands in second place, although certainly Jessie Knight on the final leg, the anchor leg for Great Britain, did really well. Told that inside line. She couldn't resist Gomez, though. They set the world lead in the heats, and that remains the world lead for Cuba. They take the win. They are delighted. $40,000 to be shared between that Cuban quartet for first place, $20,000 for second, and $10,000 for the British quartet in third place. Prize money, by the way, goes right down to include 8th place. But you can see what it means to the Cubans. I don't suppose the money's in their minds right now, Jenny. At the end of your career, it's the medals, the titles, the championships you win, and the victories that really matter. And this is a major victory for the Cuban squad in an Olympic season. Everything carries a little bit more significance, doesn't it? It has a sort of golden lining.
It does, and these are the events that you train for, you know, on those cold winter evenings. This is what it's all about. You don't often dream about finishing on the top. You're just concentrating on what it's going to take to get you there. But these are the moments that you have to enjoy in your athletics career. And we can just see great scenes there of the Polish athletes. They just keep producing these athletes year on year on year. And as soon as you see that Poland are in any event, you know that they're going to have a strong squad. And it's great that some of the younger athletes have been embedded into this team this weekend.
Well, Poland were the champions 2 years ago. They settled for second today. They are so consistent with batons in their hand. But Cuba are the winners today in the women's 4x400 meters relay. 3:28.41, winning by 3 or 4 meters after an astonishing final leg from Roxana Gomez to close their account. Poland second, Great Britain in third, and the Netherlands having to settle for fourth. But we can have a look at the split times from the various athletes on the different legs. And Jenny, I know you'll be fascinated by this one. Everybody wanting to see what Gomez ran, for example, for Cuba on that final leg, 50.96. Poland, their final leg athlete, Kaczmarek, 50.59. And for the Dutch, 50.58. Femke Bol on that third leg. That was the quickest of the day.
Yeah, Lavia Nelson there for Great Britain. She was the fastest first leg runner. I think they've moved her from her position yesterday, so that seemed to suit them. And it was interesting, wasn't it, putting Femke Bol on third leg. But they needed it, the Dutch team. They needed to get further up. So I think it was the right tactic.
50.58. I think, again, many were expecting her to run around a second quicker, but in these conditions, it's very, very difficult indeed. Great running from the British quartet. Lavia Nielsen delighted with that first leg, I suspect. And what a run it was from Jessie Knight to close with a really quick split to bring the British home for that third spot.
And these are familiar scenes that we're used to seeing with the Great Britain and Northern Ireland team, aren't we? Getting in the top three, I'm sure that was definitely the minimum thing that they came here wanting to achieve, and smiles all around.
The men's 4x400 metres is next. It is, of course, the last event of the weekend. The ladies' glory taken by Cuba in their final discipline. Who will do the same in the men's race? There is so much to run for. Never mind about the money. It's all about pride. It's about projecting yourself into this summer in these very, very early days of May. And these athletes can only look forward to warmer weather. So whatever they do here tonight will be the launch pad for this Olympic season. Colombia will be the first of the 8 teams out then. Second in their heat to Japan. They've got the same team and they'll be running in the same order. John Alejandro Palazza will be their first man out of the blocks. The Italians have had a great day already. Second to South Africa in their heat. The same team in the same order for them as well. Lorenzo Benatti is their lead-off man. 46.9 he ran yesterday. Botswana, well, Isaac Makwala ran the first leg yesterday and he runs the first leg again for his squad. 5th fastest in the heats. Same team, but a slightly changed order from the Botswana quartet. South Africa will go in lane 6. Lithe Pillai, 46.25. He ran yesterday out of the blocks. They were 6th 2 years ago, South Africa, and they go in lane 6. Netherlands go in lane 5. Can they get amongst the first 3? Their ladies just denied that a few minutes ago. They were the fastest in the heat. The same team and the same order as yesterday for the Netherlands. They're relying upon that squad. Japan, who were 4th in 2019 behind Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica and Belgium, go in lane 4. Then France will be in lane 3. Totally different quartet as in the heats yesterday to what's in the heats yesterday. Exactly the same philosophy as their ladies adopted. Will they do better than their ladies who were down in 8th place just a little while ago? And Belgium, well, the 3rd places 2 years ago in 3:02.70. What a strong squad they've got. Jonathan Sakur, Robert van der Bemden, Dylan Borley and Kevin Borley on the final leg. European champions, reigning European champions actually, Belgium outdoors in the 4x400, having taken gold in Berlin 2018 and regular medalists at global level as well, bronze medalists in the world indoors in 2018. The host nation, Poland, didn't qualify from the heats. That's a shame, of course. But we are guaranteed new winners. Trinidad and Tobago not represented here this weekend. Jenny, again, nicely poised race. And we saw that the women's race was very close, fighting, several teams fighting down the home straight on the last leg.
Yeah, well, all these teams were really equally matched from the heats yesterday. All 3 of the heats, in fact, they were all within 3:03 and 3:04. All of these teams making the final. Belgium, quite interestingly, have gone for the same team in the same order where they won the world bronze in Doha. They were under 3 minutes there, 2:58.78. And I think we've already seen from the women's event, we're not really expecting those sort of times here today. A little bit cold, which is a shame because we were actually thinking that the Netherlands could attack their national record, so we need to have a look out for that. It's 3:02.37 and yesterday they were 3:03.03, so they were just 0.6 of a second away in the qualification from that national record.
You can see the runners who will be in the later legs trying desperately to keep warm. They're bouncing around. I'll tell you what, if I was in leg 4, I think I'd have about 3 layers on and only stripped down with a few seconds to go, because the leg 4 athletes have got quite a few minutes to go just yet as these lead-off athletes begin to position themselves. There is Benatti, Lorenzo Benatti for Italy, easily spotted, not just because of the blonde flowing locks, but long pink socks being worn again that he wore yesterday. Pretty smart move, particularly in these temperatures.
Must be his lucky socks, Tim.
His lucky socks? Well, they are sensible socks as far as I'm concerned in this sort of weather. Belgium with the youngster Jonathan Sakur on the opening leg. So Colombia go on the outside. Second in their heat to Japan. Palazzo will lead them out. He ran 46.6 yesterday. Benati 46.9 in his pink socks was their opening leg runner yesterday. Isaac Makwala 46.06 yesterday. South Africa go in lane 6. Lithe Pillai 46.25 was his opening leg yesterday. Then the Netherlands, fastest in the heats, Joachim Dobber will be their lead-off man. 45.9 his opener yesterday. If he can repeat that today, it'll be something. Rikuya Ito of Japan, the second fastest in the heats, their squad. He's their lead-off man in 3. Then the French, Victor Corolet. Totally different quartet, as I mentioned, for the French in lane 3. And Belgium with that very strong squad. Can they produce the goods here? With the Borlée brothers on legs 3 and 4, Dylan and Kevin respectively. Belgium were third 2 years ago, the best placed in Yokohama of these 8 teams. So much experience in that Belgian squad. But the Netherlands, well, nothing is guaranteed. I must admit I was expecting the Dutch ladies to get amongst the first 3 in their race at least. They finished up in 4th place. They go in lane 5 here, the Dutch squad. They were the fastest in the heats. Time's irrelevant, really. Position is what matters. So 4 laps of the track then in this final event of the weekend. And Joachim Dobber, 45.9 out of the blocks yesterday. That was pretty quick. He's in lane 5 there, centre of picture. Moving up already on Lithe Pillai of South Africa. Also going well is Makwala. You would expect that second to left there in the light blue in lane 7 for Botswana. Indeed, this is a wonderful leg from Makwala. I wonder whether Dobber went off a little bit too quickly for the Netherlands in lane 5. Good running on the outside there from Palazzo for Colombia. And excellent running too. Good closing from Pillai for South Africa in the yellow as the first handover. We can see South Africa just in the lead from the Netherlands and Botswana.
Yeah, there's hardly anything, isn't it, in this at the moment. We can just see maybe South Africa just edging it, but I can see Boniface now from the Netherlands just taking hold and taking control down that back straight. He's running with his shades on. He won't be able to see anybody else, just clear track ahead of him. And they're queuing up behind him, aren't they? The Netherlands at the moment from Botswana, from Japan in 3rd position, and South Africa actually just coming up now on his shoulder. For South Africa, this is Nene as he powers all the way to the line to give the baton over in 1st place onto his outgoing runner.
Great running from Nene there on that second leg. The South Africans, and he goes down, but the South Africans are in the lead. The baton transferred successfully. The Netherlands in 2nd place, Botswana in 3rd, Japan in 4th going well. Italy with a lot of work to do at the moment, back in 5th. But what a leg that was from the South African Nene. Ranti Marvin Digale, leg 3 back in 2019 when they finished in 6th place. He ran leg 4 yesterday in 45.9 and he's going well now. Although Botswana looking dangerous here. Titiro and Zamani ran leg 4 yesterday. The responsibility of leg 3 here as he comes around the outside. He's taken the long route, but has he got the legs as the Netherlands now begin to attack down the outside? Ramsey Angela running really strongly, takes them into the lead, and won a 3rd leg from Kentaro Sato of Japan to hand over in 2nd place. It's very, very tight between these 4.
Yeah, what an absolutely fantastic race there from Sato from Japan, and this has set his team up really, really well. But we just have to look at South Africa there on the outside, going all the way to the front now with Mavula. He heads the Netherlands from Botswana from Japan.
Well, Oscar Mavundla with 200 to run exploded through the first 150 there. I wonder if he saved enough for the home straight, because Tony van Diepen ran 44.9 for the Netherlands yesterday on the final leg, and he is powerful and he's big and strong, and he drives away with 50 to go. The Dutch national record is under threat here. You can see the marker on the track. He's just going to be behind it, I think. Japan is his second, Botswana third, but it's a win for the Netherlands by 6 or 7 meters. Brilliant running from them. 3:03.46. They're less than half a second outside their national record. They couldn't care less about that. They have won. They are the winners here in Poland. Fastest in the heats, fastest in the final, just as was the case for Cuba's ladies in their competition. Brilliantly judged too from the Dutch. Tony van Diepen there judged it to perfection. The South African Mavundla, I thought, went far too aggressively over the first half of his leg. You have to run. It's a very cerebral event, as you know all too well, Jenny Meadows, and I'm not sure that Mavundla got it exactly right. It's so hard, easy to criticise from up here in the commentary box. He gave his all, but the Netherlands judged that one absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah, Van Diepen is very experienced. You've just not got to let, you know, kind of adrenaline take over, which we probably saw there. But the Japanese squad, they were absolutely fantastic. And these are great scenes. The Dutch women have stayed around to congratulate the men. And, you know, a lot of these athletes now actually train with each other in Papendal. That's their national centre. They all train together. It happened a couple of years ago, just after Doha. Swiss coach came in, and they've all been encouraged to try and train together, which is obviously showcased for all these relays. The Dutch really believe that they can take over the world, hopefully, in some of these relay events, and they're all obviously helping each other and driving each other to new levels. And it's absolutely unbelievable, actually, that this Dutch men's 4x4 squad had not qualified for the Olympics before this weekend, and they've come away with the victory. So I think they were champions in waiting, really.
Well, Belgium, by the way, must have had problems. I didn't spot it, but they finished down in 8th place, several seconds behind France in 7th. But the celebrations for the Netherlands will go on. And their men achieving what their ladies, their women couldn't do. They finished in 4th place, the Dutch women's squad. Japan, a brilliant second from them, 3:04.45, exactly 1 second behind the Netherlands. Botswana, close up behind the Japanese in 3rd place.
They're a very solid squad, aren't they, the Japanese squad? Aito, Kawabachi, Kato and Suzuki, and it was Sato on 3rd leg, wasn't it, that really came through towards the end and gives Suzuki a real fighting chance on that last leg.
Well, it went pretty much to form from yesterday. The Dutch were the quickest in the heats and they won. Japan was 2nd fastest in the heats and they finished in 2nd place here. Let's have a look at the first changeover in this men's 4x400, the final race of the weekend. South Africa there, heading out in the lead. Nene for South Africa, handing over to Digale. And this, the final changeover. The Netherlands taking over marginally in the lead, but he was not to be denied, Tony van Diepen. 44.9 yesterday, and of course in a very short time we'll bring you all those splits for each of the athletes in every team. But look at the gap he opened up, Van Diepen. Great running from him. They could be a real threat at global level, the Dutch, because they have defeated some strong squads there very comfortably, Jenny.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those, you know, things that everyone's been waiting for, to actually see the Dutch team come through. They won that European Indoor Championships just a couple of months ago. And, yeah, they're definitely a squad that are working hard together. They train together, as I say, and they're just pushing each other on to new levels, both on the men's and the women's side. Do you know what? I envy relay athletes. I envy them, that camaraderie. You've had that feeling, Jenny. It's unique, isn't it? You know, the discus throwers, the hammer throwers, the long jumpers,
the long distance guys don't get to experience that.
No, and we're looking now at Tony Van Diepen, and, you know, he really saved something for that last 100 metres, and he was really on for that national record just to the end. We see him punch the line, and straight away his teammates just bounce on him, basically. And we can see the women as well. That's Lisanne de Wit. We can see Femke Bol being so pleased as well, and Claver. They're all really thrilled for all of them. So, yeah, much celebrations, I'm sure, this evening and on the plane home.
I wonder if they're celebrating because they all agreed to put the money into one big pot. Anyway, the Netherlands indeed are the winners. 3:03.45, as I said, exactly 1 second ahead of Japan. Botswana taking third place, making it onto the rostrum. Italy, 3:05.11, a good fourth place for them. And then South Africa having settled for fifth. Colombia, France and Belgium bringing up the rear. The Belgians clearly had problems.
Well, this is the other side of the sport, isn't it? That you don't always see. The 400 metres hurts. It really does hurt. And sometimes you just can't get off the track, no matter how much you want to. It might be cold down there, but see, Tim, I said this about using the flags as blankets. These are sensible, these athletes.
Thermal flags, that's what is needed in this sort of weather. That's a lovely shot. Botswana, who finished in third place. And Japan's athletes embracing. Japan, of course, in second place. Smiles are always a little bit wider, aren't they, when you've made the rostrum? You know, there's always the satisfaction of having had a good run yourself and giving 101%. Well, the Polish national song and dance ensemble are back out for the post-relays celebrations. Slask is one of the most recognizable artistic ensembles in the world. Well, I'm told that the Belgians didn't have any specific problem in their changeovers. Just one or two below par legs, and they finished down in 8th place, which was quite a big surprise to themselves, I suspect, as well as many other followers of the sport. But they will be back, and undeniably what happens in Tokyo in 12 weeks' time is just a tad more significant, although this is a wonderful way to kick off the team versus team international summer. I say summer in inverted commas. Jenny, let's go through the results of the various events we've seen. There's the mixed 4x400 metres relay results. Italy winning from Brazil and the Dominican Republic. Belgium fourth in that one, ahead of Great Britain. Italy winning pretty comfortably, almost a second their winning margin.
Well, this was the men's 4x100 metre relay. It seems a long time ago now. We've had so much action. South Africa taking the victory in 38.71 seconds. From Italy in second, 39.21. Japan in third, 39.42. And Denmark with their only other team to finish in fourth position, 39.56.
Yes, that men's 4x100 result really emphasising the difficulties of getting the Baton round. Two teams failing to finish, two disqualified, and one disqualification and one DNF in the women's equivalent. Italy winning from Poland and the Netherlands. The season's best for Italy, 43.79, with not much between Poland, Netherlands and Japan at all in second, third and fourth.
So the women's 4x200 metre relay, and it was a win for the hosts, Poland, in a national record 1:34.98. From Ireland, another national record 1:35.93. From Ecuador, season's best. Denmark, another national record. From Kenya, national record also, and the fastest split by the Kenyan athlete of all the teams on that final leg.
The men's 4x200 metres relay brought a victory very comfortably, in fact, for Germany. Bit of a surprise, that one. Kenya and Portugal second and third, with the Danes failing to finish, and the Poles, I'm afraid, the host nation, and they have been wonderful hosts, being disqualified in that particular discipline.
So the penultimate event was that women's 4x400 metre relay. Cuba taking the win on this occasion, and it was a historic win from Poland in second place, Great Britain and Northern Ireland in third place, the Netherlands, Italy, Germany, Belgium and France in eighth.
Well, what the Dutch women couldn't do, finishing in fourth there despite the fastest leg of all from Femke Bol on leg 3, 50.58. Their men could. They were the winners, and convincing winners in the men's 4x400 metres relay, ahead of Japan and Botswana. So Europe, Asia and Africa represented there on the rostrum of the men's 4x400 metres relay. Well, and all the winning teams, winning athletes are coming out into the stadium very shortly, suitably clad, of course. I hope they've got layers on underneath those tracksuits. The wind is still blowing our papers around here on our desks high above the finish line. What a privileged position we've had through these 2 days in the Slutsky Stadium, the Silesia Stadium. Poland, Germany, Italy, South Africa.
And this is a nice touch, isn't it? This is the Polish athletes who won the very first event of this championships, the hosts in the mixed 2x2x400 metres, József and Dobek.
Yes, the first final of the 2 days was yesterday. It was first final on Saturday of 2 finals. We've had 7 today. Germany taking the shuttle hurdles relay yesterday. Zapalska, Balnevite, Weigold and Traber winning by over a second from Poland and Kenya in that discipline. They've had a good weekend, have the Germans, as ever. For many decades, one of the great powerhouses of European athletics, indeed of global athletics. And they always have well-balanced squads too. Great jumpers, great throwers.
And this is the mixed 4x4. This is the victorious squad. This is the Italians, Scotti, Trevisan, Magnoe and Ray. And that was an exciting race.
It was indeed, yes, defeating Brazil and Dominican Republic for that win. The men's 4x100 metres won by South Africa from Italy and Japan. Denmark finishing in 4th place. Only 4 teams out of the 8 getting a result from that one. 2 disqualified, 2 failing to finish, but South Africa 38.71 were pretty comfortable winners. There they are. Glodlo, Liotlela, Munyai, and of course Akani Simbine, whose split time, by the way, on the final leg was 9.08. I know it's with a flying start, but that is still quick. Liotlela on the back straight on the second leg, running 9.16.
And this was the 4x100 metre women. Italy taking another victory here. Sagusa, Hooper, Bonginori and Fontana. And it's quite nice that they all get a medal, isn't it, Tim? We were wondering yesterday whether there was any medals for those people who won.
I think we were actually told there wouldn't be any medals, but there are medals for these athletes. It is not, formally speaking, a championship in literal terms, we are told. The 4x200 for women was won by Poland from Ireland and Ecuador. 1:34.98 for Poland. The quickest of their athletes was Adamek on the third leg, 23.34. And the history books will show this weekend as producing some times which look on the slow side, but these extremely cold, rare temperatures for an athletics meeting are a big part of the explanation for that.
So Germany with the victors in the men's 4x200 metres, led off by Müller, Straub, Ansa Perra and Ansa, who ran so well, didn't he, on that last leg?
Didn't he just? Yes, Ansa, 19.96. They got quicker and quicker through each leg. Müller 21.4 out of the blocks, Straub 20.7, Ansa Perra 20.2, and then Ansa 19.96. And the women's 4x400 metres, well, it was, of course, Cuba who took the win. Echevarria, Almanza, Veta and Gomez. And again, the times got quicker and quicker from legs 1 to leg 4. Gomez rounding things off with that storming run down the home straight, running 50.96. Similar split to what she produced in the heats yesterday, winning from Poland and Great Britain.
And they've not even had time to get dressed. This is the Dutch squad, this is the Netherlands squad, still in party mode. Medals round the neck, mascots in their hand and their masks, of course, and still in the shorts. Dobber set them off well, didn't he? 45.95 on the first leg. Bonavesa 45.85 on the second leg. Angela worked so hard to bring them back in contention and to give that baton over to Van Diepen on the last leg. 46.18 and Van Diepen 45.47.
Japan second in that men's 4x400. Botswana third, remember, with Italy just outside the rostrum positions. Belgium, the surprise package in that men's 4x4, finishing down in 8th place. I can tell you that Kevin Borlée ran 49.5 for his leg. I hope that isn't explained by an injury or an injury of any significance. We'll obviously find out in coming days. But the celebrations for all of these athletes with a successful start to their Olympic summer just have that little bit more bounce to them, don't they? And so they should, despite the challenging temperatures. It projects them through May and June and then into the real meat of the summer, July and August and September as well. The Diamond League Series will be bouncing along through those summer months, and they can all be so happy with their weekend's work. Jenny, it's a confidence game, isn't it, sport, and athletics in particular, and each of those athletes we're seeing now as winners this weekend will be so boosted.
Yeah, that'll take them into next week's training and beyond. When you actually get something from a weekend like this, it'll definitely make you think, you know what, 12 weeks time in Tokyo, I want to be in the same position. And it's all about celebrating these victories. These athletes work incredibly hard, and I hope this has just been a real hope for all the athletes all around the world, even those athletes who's not took part here this weekend. Sport can go on if we take really good safety measures, and we've seen some great performances, so fingers crossed for the rest of the season.
Well, there are many sports that rumble along through the year on a regular basis. Football, of course, comes to mind as being a sport that lasts for, what, 9-10 months, maybe more even with the summer championships. And it doesn't matter that it's tennis or any one of many other sports. There are year-round sports. But track and field athletics is particularly demanding, because you can put many months of hard training into the bank, so to speak, without ever being seen. As Jenny has alluded to on a couple of occasions, the many months of hard work in the rain and the wind and the cold of the winter get rewarded when you come out in the summer. Now, this might not be very summery weather this weekend, but it is what happens over these next 10 or 12 weeks that is crucial for these athletes, and is their reward for the hundreds, the thousands of hours of hard work that they put in the closed season, so to speak. Many don't choose to operate the indoor season, so for many of these athletes, frankly, they haven't done much since September, Jenny, and you're going back, 8-9 months since they really stepped out and competed in anger.
And it's a long time, isn't it, for anyone just to keep going without any reward or any sort of benchmark. But I think we really have to, say a huge congratulations to everyone who's worked on this event. It would have been very easy to cancel it, but all the officials, the local organising committee, all the nations, all the medics. I mean, I've lost count of how many COVID tests I've had whilst I've been here, Tim, before we got here, every 48 hours, and obviously before we fly home again. So just a big hats off to everyone who's made sure this event has been very, very safe. People have come here, they've got Olympic qualifications, they've got benchmarks, and they'll be going home, like you say, Tim, with lots of things to work on.
Couldn't help spotting Sebastian Coe out there, World Athletics president as well, a man who has fought the hard yards since he took over as president of the IAAF, as it was then, back in 2015, to correct a few wrongs in the sport, and now he's focusing more upon issues that really do benefit all athletes. The competitive structure of the World Athletics year is what he's been very focused upon with his colleagues down in Monte Carlo for the last year or two, and is beginning to bear fruit, because I think there is a structure now that every layman, everybody who doesn't know the sport well, can understand. They can look at and see how it works, how it fits together, whereas before there was a real freelance, slightly nonchalant, not chaotic element to the way the athletics calendar sat, but it just didn't really fit together like a neat jigsaw. Now it does, and this is the first part of that jigsaw for this summer season, this Olympic summer.
Yeah, and plenty to look forward to as well. The World Athletics Diamond League takes place pretty soon, and we've got the Continental Tour going on. We've got junior events going on later in the season. We're hoping to have that World Junior Championships in Nairobi in Kenya, and I know they're very, very excited about hosting that one. But just great images again of all of these athletes, and Joanna Josvik and Dobek have had to wait a long time, haven't they, Tim, to be out here and enjoy their celebrations. They were the first final of the whole of the weekend. That was yesterday, so they've been waiting around to make sure they come and get their victory celebration.
And there have been some great stories, haven't there, this weekend? The Irish have certainly stepped up and performed supremely on the big stage. So have the Cubans. The Dutch have had some very special moments. The established nations of European athletics have performed outstandingly. Italy started this day tremendously well. Thought they were going to be on the rostrum in the first three in every event, the way they kicked off day two. And the Poles, as ever, have been wonderful hosts, and what a busy hosting nation they have been. When you think they had the European Indoor Championships just a few weeks ago, they had the World Half Marathon Championships in Gdynia back in October, and it runs longer. I think they've got the European Teams Championship in a few weeks' time as well.
They have, and it's in this stadium, and Polish are really taking their athletics seriously now, and gosh, don't we know it. Such a formidable athletics nation, the Polish nation now. Lots of cheers. And, Tim, we have talked about those established nations, of course, but Ecuador with that national record yesterday. We had the Danish men's 4x1 with that national record as well, and quite a lot of national records in some of the events that are quite new on the scene as well. And I'm sure those records will be getting broken in the next few editions of this World Relays.
Well, Poland have a very balanced, well-balanced squad too. Not only are they great on the track, but in the technical events, the throws and the jumps as well. Rather like the Germans, a huge, deep-seated tradition for top track and field athletics in the Polish nation, and how they enjoy it. Well, a chance now to look at some of the very best action from this second and final day. The mixed 4x400 meters relay kicked off the day. The Italians were quite supreme, and Davide Re taking over on the fourth leg after Scotti, Trevisan and Mangione had done the job, winning by 7 or 8 meters in 3:16.6 from Brazil and the Dominican Republic, and how they enjoyed that one. Set the stall to some degree, didn't it? The men's 4x100 meters was full of incident. South Africa eventually coming out on top. They stormed home there behind Brazil, but Brazil unfortunately were disqualified, along with Ghana, who had originally finished in third place. There it is, that foot on the line. When you're running around those bends, you cannot touch the line to your left. You cannot, and they did. The women's 4x100 metres. Well, one might have expected the Dutch to be champions here, but it was Italy who held on to their lead after a poor final Dutch changeover, winning from host nation Poland. Fontana there, roaring home to victory for Italy, and the Dutch having to settle for third place. The 4x200 metres for women, well, it produced a very comfortable victory for Poland, winning by almost a second, although the Irish really threatened mid-race. As it turned out at the end, they were finished a few metres down, but did take second, beating some strong squads. Ecuador in third, Denmark and Kenya in fourth and fifth. The men's 4x200 metres, producing victory for Germany. And what a convincing victory. Almost 2 seconds to the good was their squad of Muller, Straub, Ansa Pepra and Ansa. And Ansa on that final leg, opening up that gap, because he ran 19.96 in the worst possible conditions for the big sprinters. The women's 4x400 metres, well, many expected the Dutch to dominate here, but Cuba stuck to their guns. And despite Britain leading for much of the race through Nielsen, Pippi, Diamond and Knight, that British quartet having to settle for third place behind Poland in second, and the Cubans taking victory with Gomez on that final leg, running superbly. Well, split 50.96. And the men's 4x400 metres, well, they made up for perhaps some disappointment in the women's event, because they took gold, or at least the win here, I should say, very comfortably, did the Netherlands. Dobber, Bonavacia, Angela, and a fabulous storming last leg from Tony van Diepen, bringing them home in first place, ahead of Japan and Botswana. Well, Jenny, normally at the end of a major weekend of international athletics like this, and indeed of all major championships usually, the athletes are renowned for celebrating a little bit, but they're not really allowed to, are they, this weekend?
No, we're not allowed to. Just the track and the hotel. That's what we've all been restricted to, of course. But we're not complaining, keeping in our bubbles, and it's just great that this event happened to go on.
Yes, let's hope that the bubbles that we've all had to put up with this weekend, and so many athletes have at other major championships, in Torun, those European indoors not far from here, and in Gdynia, where things went so well on the coast of Poland back in October. Let's hope that those bubbles, the restrictions, get to be eased in coming months, and indeed that through to the Olympic Games in Tokyo, conditions for all these athletes, all fans and everybody out there, things do improve. We're very lucky in the UK, where the vaccination programme has gone incredibly well. Other nations a little bit behind. Some nations a long, long way behind. But Jenny, your final thoughts for the weekend?
Do you know, it's been such a great weekend, but it's probably those moments that you wouldn't expect. I loved the Irish's reactions to that, mixed relay when they qualified for that, and it's fantastic that a lot of nations are just going home knowing they've got that Olympic qualification.
Well, the next event on the World Athletics Series programme is the World Athletics Under-20 Championships in late August, 17th to 22nd August in Nairobi, Kenya. We hope you'll be able to join the team there. From Jenny Meadows, myself, Tim Hutchings, and all the production team here at the Selesky Stadium, thank you for being with us. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.
There is something that you do, and it isn't something obvious. There's an energy from you, like sunlight shining, shining. Don't you know you